and we'll make sure everybody's we're live, everybody. Hey, welcome to the show on Saturday. Rizza was here, and Rizza now is back, and we're live. Rizza, behave yourself. We are live. So, everybody, welcome to the show. Apparently, we're going to have a surprise guest. So we're going to go over that in a little bit, and we'll talk about how I became an influencer according to Rizza, and we'll talk about new Instagram handles, cigars that we smoke, and we're going to go from there.
Oh, finally we have him back. Wow. Hello. Look who showed up.
I'm glad you both dressed up and made the effort.
Can I tell you, I'm wearing pants for you. And with that being said, here you go.
Wait. Rizza?
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Welcome to Habanos Saturday, the fastest growing cigar show on YouTube with over 100,000 subscribers. Come join us every Saturday live. Every Saturday live.
All right, boys and girls, we are live. Welcome to the show. And here we go. It's going to be one of those kind of shows. And once people start commenting, yes, I will put the comments down below. We are live on Instagram, everybody. We have cigar analysts joining us. Good afternoon to them, cigar analysts, and everybody that's joining. Now,
I want to give a shout out to these boys. I met Ali, Qasim, Emmanuel yesterday.
Can we start the show?
Sorry.
We've already started the show.
Steven. Yeah. I was just pissing him off.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
But you didn't need to. I'm already pissed off. I'm already pissed off.
Okay, can we get the guest in first? So that
I'm here.
No.
The guest is here.
He's here. The guest is here. Yeah, he's here. So, yeah, there's no guest. And Usman froze.
Are you done with your dramas, brother?
You're lagging.
No, wait.
You're lagging. There's a time delay between me and you.
There is no possibility of me lagging today. Because I am on a LAN connection. I made sure it's a cable connection.
Very technical. What does that mean?
Yeah, you're right.
He fed the chipmunk. Before we start the show with our guests, let me just say, and I'll bring it up again. So Rizza calls me the beginning of the week and tells me that I am a cigar influencer now. I was shocked because I only smoke every day and know nothing. I learn everything from YouTube. And I became an influencer. So hence my new Instagram handle here over there below for the people that want to follow it. Everything will still be on 2OF Entertainment or 2 Old Farts Making Noises as well. But this now is specifically evensteven.cigars is specifically just for cigars. Next week, I think we'll be broadcasting also live the show. If not, we'll be rebroadcasting what Usman does. So if you guys want to follow that and whatever misadventures I get into, feel free. So cigar analysts, good afternoon. Nadar, greetings to you as well. And that's it. So
perfect. Steven, great to have you on Instagram. And I think we should continue to have our conversation while our senior analyst here is finishing his lunch or whatever he's doing. Hi, Urs. How are you? Great to have you here. We don't need any explanations on your half-eaten lunch. Please don't continue. Do whatever you want to do.
Please,
Steven. Right. Can you feel that? Can you feel that level of insubordination I'm giving him these days?
Wow! I look at this. The roles have been reversed.
We're specializing in recycled jokes now.
Yeah, right.
The roles here have been reversed. Look at this. Usman is becoming the new Rizza.
Right.
This is crazy.
Strong in this one.
Okay, since we are a cigar show, I thought might light up at least the cigar while you're partying across the world and someone else hasn't even finished their lunch, so I might do the next one.
So but let me just say this before you light. Let me just say this about before you light your cigar. I had a Calistoga Winds of the Daughter that was sent to us by one of our fans. Yeah. And that right now is my cigar of the year. That is a phenomenal cigar. I am in love with this cigar. It is.
Are you guys live? I can't see you on my big screen.
Well, that's because yes, we are live.
Because you are you, His Highness.
Yes, I was going to say we are live all over the world.
I found it. I found it.
Wow, you found us.
Wow. Congratulations! Look at you learning technology. Oh, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Okay, kids.
Since Raza has put a lot of rants about my last week's heart-to-heart conversation and my feelings, true feelings about Camacho, and he tried to turn it and twist it by saying that I don't like Davidoff. So I thought I
Right.
would light up a Davidoff today just so that I can prove him wrong. So I'm lighting
Okay.
up a Davidoff 2000, Signature 2000, as my first smoke for the day.
Very nice. That's
Stephen,
that's touching.
you-
We have a
yes.
guest. Would you like to introduce the guest before we bring him in?
Here I am.
Yes.
Here I am. I'm
Yes, you are
delighted
there.
to be
I keep
off.
forgetting that the
F
superstar is
off.
here,
Delighted.
ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, our
Right.
guest is
So our guest is so today we, if a few of us are regular followers who are there in the show would know that a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the new legal regulations on the ban of tobacco and tobacco products in the UK was being discussed on the show, and that's when we were contacted by this gentleman, and he shared that there are a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes that we are unaware. So he said, why not? He would come and he would clarify and he would share that for the larger audience as well. So we said, why not?
Sure.
Let's do
Sure.
that. Today we have the honor of having Philip Buckthorpe, who is the man behind the Instagram handle Save Cigars UK. And he's going to talk about what's happening here and there about that regulation. So I think without further ado, Stephen, why don't we get him in the call and
Well,
then we'll
first of all, let's not rush. Do we have to put him in like a blackened screen, like a silhouette? Is people trying to kill him? What do we need to do here? I mean, are we just going to like expose him? And I don't mean like, in a schoolyard pedophile way, but are we exposing him with a screen? What are we doing here? I mean, or can we show his face?
we can just show his face, I think. Should be
I
okay.
just wanted to make sure, I
The only threat on this call is Raza. I think we can manage him.
Okay.
So that's okay.
All right, Phil, a lot of you are going to notice Philip from the post office. So there you go. All right, Philip, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. That was quite the introduction. But,
Well, not everybody can be expose themselves on the playground.
On and on, if you like.
Yeah. So,
hopefully,
this is the serious part of the show.
All right, Philip, thank you very much for joining us. I believe, given the fact that the whole conversation is about cigars, at least you would be the one joining me in smoking a cigar.
Absolutely,
I see you sitting outside. Oh, I see a La Gloria Cubana.
Yeah, 2016 Platinum Edition Duke Regional Edition for the Netherlands. So
nice.
Very nice.
Where's Roy Sommer when you need him?
Thanks for having me on today. I've been watching all of the past shows that you've done for the past few weeks as well now, and sat here kind of talking back to the screen going, I could tell you more about that bit, or when you guys are trying to figure out what some of the rules meant, I was thinking, I could try to elaborate on that. So
it's just so Rizza talks back to the screen even when we're not on, so we totally get it. And
it's a reflecting pool of emotions.
Oh my God. So, all right. Well, since this is going to be almost a serious show, Isman, we're going to let you and Philip kind of start, and then Riz and I will just jump in as we need to.
Nah.
Yeah.
How can that happen? Having a serious part? No, the only serious part is where Philip will talk. We have Raza to ensure that nothing goes as per plan. So
that's true.
And given the fact that Raza is based in the United Kingdom,
you must be United States. I detected a United Statesy kind of thing going on there.
Okay, whatever. So since you are in the United Kingdom, why don't you help us?
Me help you? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I am. I'm very much okay. Help us knowing. First of all, know whatever that.
I'm the first person on the lifeboat. You know that.
Whatever butt you're smoking, can you please tell us about that so that then we can get into the serious conversation?
That's right.
From this Vitola, can you guess if it's New World or Cuban?
Oh my God!
Actually, the reason why I started here is because I met Qasim, Ali, and Emmanuel yesterday in Tomto, right? And Qasim was on my case about this the cigar spear. It's not a cigar spear, Kasim. That's what's on the other end of the cigar spear. Okay, it's a letter opener.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, you find whatever's practical. A knife, a letter opener.
Yeah,
It's going to be a long show.
in your case, it's going to be a sword as well, so it's fine.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell.
All right.
Right. Okay. So why don't we move to Philip? Philip, why don't you take a few minutes? First of all, tell a little bit about yourself
Sure.
for the people who might not know you because they know the handle, and I'm sure there are a few people who would know about you as well. But generally about you first, and then how do you fit in the Save Cigars campaign, and what is happening on this whole, and then you can take it from there. And please be mindful of the fact that all three of us are very much used to of interfering and asking questions and poking our nose, especially Raza. He can, but
What
I'm
a
sure.
shit reputation to have.
Okay, over to you, Philip.
I've heard some stories. Reza and I have mutual acquaintances, so yeah, I've been looking forward to meeting you for a while. But so yeah, I guess so. A little bit about me. The Save Cigars campaign, I tried to make it not about me, which is why I've not put my name on it anywhere. Or you know, it was very much, it was not something for me to promote anything I'm doing. It was for the purpose of Save Cigars, which is why, other than the videos that I've done where I'm talking to the screen, you won't have seen me or heard from me personally. So, but I'm for the best part, a consumer of cigars. So I'm not really in the industry. I dabble a bit with helping people get cigars for weddings and things like that. But I'm, you know, for all intents and purposes, I'm a cigar consumer rather than industry. And I've been smoking cigars since about 2015 when I was sort of middle teenager ages. I got introduced to it. It's been a journey since then. I now spend time going around hunting for regionals whenever I can in other countries. Yeah, I guess over the past couple of years, I'd heard about similar campaigns being set up. There's the Use Your Voice campaign by the AITS. And I saw a lot going on, but I thought probably not enough going on. So that's why I set up the Save Cigars campaign, because I figured with a bit of technology, we can do quite a lot more, try and engage people more and educate people more. So that's where it came from. But you know, I work in IT, right? I'm a boring day job, so I just enjoy cigars and would like to do whatever I can to protect them.
Cool. And Usman disappeared. So there we go. Okay, so let me ask you this while we wait for Usman to show back up, because you know he's in a third world country. They didn't feed the gerbil, even though he's in a landline now, apparently. So let's go with that. Mr. the IT guy. Hey, why don't you, the IT guy can explain to us later what a landline is. Anyway, so here's what I've heard. And we're in America, and not really, we're in Monaco, actually. We just told people we're in America. That's why we have the backdrop today, because you know, we don't want the poor people to be upset. So that's anyone that's not a billionaire, basically. So here's my question. My understanding is they're going to set a date. That's going to be, I'm making this date up, August 1st, 2009. And if you were born after that, you can't buy cigars. If you're born before, you can. And then my understanding is they are not going to change the date. Like in the United States, what happens is the first of the date changes every year. So you're only 21 and above can buy, whether it's cigarettes, alcohol, cigars, whatever it might be. My understanding in where you guys are, the date is not going to change. So does that mean in 20 years, you have to be like 50 to buy a cigar? Is that what's going on?
Exactly, yeah. So it's being referred to, the name that it's being given is the generational ban. So anyone who was born after January 1st, 2009 will never be able to buy any tobacco product. So as an individual, they will never legally be allowed to purchase tobacco in the UK if you were born after that date. So every year, there's no legislative change every year. It's just the fact that you'll have to be older and older and older to buy a cigar, and it'll eventually phase tobacco out. So that's the whole plan.
So is that their thing? The 100-year plan is that at some point there's no more cigars and whatnot. That's what the plan is.
Exactly, and it's not. That's all tobacco products, of which the problem that we have here is cigars have been swept into the same, and not just cigars, but what we refer to as OTPs or other tobacco products. So that's cigars, pipes, snuff. They make up 2% of the UK's tobacco products. These OTPs that we've been swept into the 100%, and are facing this generational ban.
Gotcha.
Among
All right.
many other things. But
Let me just say this: two things. Cigar Cave Resist, they want you to buy a new booker for your cigars, and for you, Philip, they salute you on your search for regional cigars. This is all on Instagram, kids. Okay, so let me go back to this now. So first of all, who's the idiot that came up with it? Second of all, Riza off screen will tell you that everybody in the cigar industry are a bunch of pussies. Third, what is the cigar industry doing about this? Because this seems to me that if I was Hunters and Frank or number 6 Cavendish or Tom Tom or all these big players, I'll mention them because I'm not going to London anytime soon. But even though I'm there, why aren't they doing anything? Are they doing stuff behind the scenes that we don't know? Or is it sort of like they just acquiesced it in 20 or 30 years, their stores and their distributorships are just going to be out of business?
I think there's a couple of answers to this. So when I started this out, it's because I was under the impression that nobody was doing anything. And that's why I thought, if I don't do it, who will? And so I shared that same view that on a surface level, it appears that nobody was doing anything, apart from the one campaign that was active from the AITS. And as I've, over the past couple of months, started to make some connections in the industry, so I've had phone calls with various people from Hunters and Frank Howe, various people from Tor, for example. So not that we're in collaboration. So Save Cigars is entirely a consumer-led thing, but they have actually reached out and said, hey, we are doing stuff, and then have shared with me what's going on. So much like any issue that's anything that's going through Parliament that people want to try and adjust or change or block, is lobbying. So in all of these groups, there is lobbying happening in the Commons, so with the MPs. But at the moment with the Lords, because the bill has already been through the Commons now, so currently it's with the Lords. So these large organisations, they are behind the scenes lobbying for amendments to the bill. So one of my pieces of feedback was, okay, well, maybe share that with the population of the cigar world so that we can all see what's going on. I'm hoping now maybe I can be a bit of a voice for that and explain some of what they're trying to do. So that is happening. So that's at probably the importer distributor level. Then you've got the lounges and the stores, who I think have all been waiting for some communication from the wholesalers, from the importers, to tell them what to do, how to handle this situation. And that is starting to trickle down. But equally, the stores and lounges seem to be jumping on the Save Cigars campaign now. So, finally, they've been given a tool that they can use by putting the QR code in the shops. And I've had feedback from people about, okay, what's the point in me sending the email to the MP? What's it going to actually do? If anything, raise awareness. So the fact that all the stores and the lounges are putting the signs, the Summer Smoke Festival, I saw the Havana House guys had a sign that they were holding with the QR code on. If anything, it's making people aware, because much like you guys just questioned at the start of this, what's the bill actually going to do? Loads of people are thinking that. So there's a load of information on the website. Sending the email to your MP does two things. One, it makes them aware that people are waking up to this and we want some change. Two, it's preparing us in readiness for when the bill moves back to the House of Commons. So the UK parliamentary system, an amendment to a law will go through the Commons, which is the MPs, into the Lords, which is the peers. They do basically a review. If they make any changes, it goes back into the Commons for a final acceptance. So we're actually teeing the MPs up for when it goes back into the Commons, to try and get more people on side. Yeah, there's sort of those three levels, but can we all be doing more? Absolutely. Absolutely. The cigar community rallied behind the Save Cigars website for about 2 weeks, and there was this boom of activity. And what I've realized is that the London cigar scene is very insular. And while the same
Okay.
people are making a lot of noise, which is great, it's not getting outside of that circle. And so I
Okay.
think now it's how do we push it further? Can we ask friends and family to send the email? How do we get even more awareness? So, yeah, sorry, there's a really long answer to your question, but they're the sort of levels of which things are happening. And I do have a list here of some of the amendments that are being requested and tabled, if that's of interest to you.
It might be. We'll let those be determine that. But one other question. So with all this going on with the lords and the ladies and whatever, and the guys that are all 700 years old, so for them they don't care. When is this new law supposed to kick in and take effect that starts screwing up everybody's life?
So for a law in the UK parliamentary system, the law has to be passed before the King's speech. The King's speech normally happens in May. So in theory, they've got until May to get this done. Interestingly, if it's not concluded before the King's speech, and that because the King has to essentially declare the new law. So if it doesn't make a speech, the majority of the time these things get scrapped. There are some powers that they can use to try and extend it into the next year, but often you have to go back to step one of the process. So start from the beginning. So if it does go ahead, there's this glimmer of hope that maybe they'll be too lazy and miss the date or something, but it'll be between now and May where it'll get finalized and written into law, and then it'll come into power middle of next year.
Gotcha. Okay. Usman, would you like to talk to your guest?
Absolutely. Right. So, Philip, thank you very much for giving us a basic understanding of how the system works and how the law works and all of that. Now, let's say if it does get in effect and it gets passed, what is it that is, well, I understand, and pardon me for saying, on this side of the world, when something ridiculous as if this one happens, people find a way out or circumvent another way of doing it. Is there a B plan for, let's say, if this goes in effect, what is the B plan? Because at the end of the day, if this happens after a certain time, the entire business owners, which are specifically to cigars, will either be out of business or will be forced to sell out of their regional boundaries or the country boundaries which they are allotted to. So what's happening if this happens? What is it that is going to happen?
So I was listening to last Saturday's talk, and I was laughing at the idea of a loophole where you rent cigars. That was quite a cool one from one of your guests. So the people talk about the lounges being, the fact that we can smoke in sampling lounges. People talk about that as being a loophole. It's technically it's a genuine exemption. So it's not like someone missed something and, oh, cool, we can still smoke in lounges. That exemption came from heavy lobbying from the likes of Hunters and Francow to at the time when that 2007 smoking ban was being done. And that exemption was written in from lobbying. So that's the plan B here, is that the lobbying works and that we get the correct exemptions in place this time around. If we ended up in a situation where the bill passed as it stands today, the only thing we could pray for is that the next government undoes it. But I can't see any real loopholes that would stop the generational ban part. So essentially people after that age wouldn't be able to buy the cigars. The most troubling thing, though, I mean, for the people like us who are able, Reza and I, we won't, there'll be nothing stopping us from buying cigars until we die, and we can smoke them. That's fine. But it's for the next generation. We've got to think about them, but also the stores. So the shops will have licensing implications. So they'll have to become the police. So it's like if Reza and I, if we go into number 6 Cavendish and go and say hey to AJ, but there's a person next to us that looks the same age as us, but is actually 2 years younger, he's going to have to ID them. And even though they might be 35 years old, they might not be able to buy a cigar. And they become the police. And if they sell to somebody with the wording as it stands at the moment, if they get caught selling to someone who's underage, the language being used is intent to supply, as in the same language we use with drug laws. So if it goes through as it stands today, for the consumer over the age of the 2009 date, probably won't notice a great deal of change right away. For the consumers younger than the date, they'll never be able to buy cigars. And for the people who sell them, it'll become a licensing, policing dilemma. That's
I think
Right.
it sounds more like in 10 years is really when, and so if it takes effect, just say this year in 25, it's really in the year 35 where I think you see the effect. Because then there's going to be people that are 21, 22, 23 that are now 31, 32, 30, that won't be able to buy it. So I think that's the effect. It's a 5 or 10 year effect. It won't be immediately felt because at a certain age, they probably don't sell you a cigar if you're 16 or under. But I think at a certain point, it's going to be, oh, we're feeling the effect. So they still have like a 5 or 10 year runway then before you start feeling like, oh, this is going to really affect our business, which is probably another reason they're not getting crazy.
Yeah, there's an impact assessment that the government have done. They have to do an impact assessment for when these kind of things go through, and they've said they've actually acknowledged that the independent SMEs their businesses will inevitably impacted, but they've just accepted it. They've said that's a necessary loss in that sector in return for the benefit of the smoke-free generation, saves money on the NHS return. But yeah, if you look statistically at there's 120 independent tobacconists in the UK, and I think on average 80% of revenue comes from cigar sales. So that will dwindle, the stores will close, people will look to other markets. But the other thing that will impact probably more immediately, and this isn't apparent from what everyone's talking about at the moment, is in the bill itself, there is a thing called delegated powers, which is where the government will be able to make other restricting changes without going through another bill. And the three main ones that they'd be able to change, A, is licensing powers. So how do they police who can buy and where and when? Packaging powers. So the day that this bill passes, without doing another bill, they could employ plain packaging on cigars. And smoke-free settings. So the day this bill passes, I don't know if you remember, there was this talk about a year ago that they were going to ban smoking in pub gardens. That could happen again. And all of these things are buried in there deep, and they're not explicitly saying they're going to do them, but they have the power to do them from day one without going through Parliament again. So they're the hidden things that will probably come in quicker than 10 years.
The plain packaging part of it is actually quite useful, because then you'll be able to tell what the really good cigars and the really shit New World cigars are. Because when you smoke a Cuban straight away, so that's actually quite a very serious point, because then only discerning cigar smokers will really kind of stand out. I'm not one of them. I pretend to be one. I pretend to be one.
Right. Philip,
may I use?
You have a question.
May I use the example of my own MP as sort of an example of what you're up against? So, one, I would imagine in the first 2 or 3 days of Philip putting this Save the Cigars up, I used the website and email system. I personalized the letter to my MP, and he wrote back a very nice letter. In summary, he said, cigars and tobacco are bad for your health. If I were you, I would quit smoking. And I wrote a very polite reply back and said, you're a knob end and you're not going to amount to anything in your life. And that is basically what you're up against. You're up against complete fucking knob ends who make the rules up as they go along. And you're begging them, please, oh, please, reason with me, please. Nothing like this is done properly. What's going to happen is one drunken night out is going to solve this whole problem, right? What the retailers need to do. They need to throw collectively on their own fucking money, throw an event, invite as many MPs, politicians as possible, show them the stars, the consumers of, call it a grand gala. Show them what is entailed in cigar smoking, what it does. Urs last week mentioned something, it hadn't even occurred to me. He was talking about an older generation getting old, and it helps their mental health, mental well-being, to relax, to sit in a lounge. It's stuff that I hadn't thought, because I obviously haven't reached that very, very old age, like
You're
Stephen
getting
and
there.
Usman. But the thing is this,
Wow.
what is required is something proactive, and I see the cigar world as a very, very greedy or very apathetic world. It sort of oscillates between greed and total apathy. Now, the people who are really greedy have got shitloads of money, and if they could have done anything, they would have done it by now. They would have lobbied, they would have spent the money. I had a long conversation. I think Philip may have heard this. You guys were here, you heard it again and again. We all have individually, I mean, there's some fairly intelligent people around, right? We're consumers. It's in our vested interest to enjoy this product, okay? At the end of the day, it's not the most important thing in the world. It's just dried leaves, yeah? But because it's our hobby, because it's a very, very long-standing hobby, it's a very, very long-standing industry, a very refined industry, a luxurious industry, an industry of, of great product, of very pure product, purus, all right?
Yeah.
That is not conveyed. And
Yeah.
if you really want to persuade or create persuasive arguments to complete fucking knobheads and imbeciles and effectively a generation or political voting earners who just want to do stuff for populist action, you need to show them, well, hang on, you know what? You can go and target everyone else. This is something of value, of heritage, of a long-standing nature. It's something very British, worth preserving. Hans Franco have been around for 235 years. Usman, we were discussing 235 is being released at the end of this year, right? 235 years, yeah? Not 25 years. This is not like cigarettes that appeared like, 70, 80 years ago, right? The shittiest tobacco product that you can find, yeah? So my suggestion, it's a very intellectual suggestion. I've thought about it very, very carefully. One drunken night out. Just get everyone on a high, get them smoking fine cigars, the finest. In fact, I know a gentleman who will happily furnish his cigars free of charge. AJ will probably crack open a box of Cohiba 40th anniversary. Try this, and he will become the savior of the industry.
I'm sure AJ appreciates you cracking over his box, number one. Number two, and then when they're drunk with the hookers, we'll just take
By the
pictures
way,
and
there's
put them
no
on the
charge for
internet.
this
So there
advice.
you
There's
go.
no charge for this. This
Oh,
is
wow.
from the
Lucky
heart.
us. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Philip.
You know what?
But from taking a cue from what Reza was saying,
Thank you.
and yeah, you're welcome. One thing, I mean, Britain has always been about heritage and about preservation of history and culture and all of that. Has
Industry.
this, yeah? So has there something been done in order to uh, kind of convey this aspect of or associated with the cigar smoking so far, or is it on the cards, or what?
A little. I think that is an angle that's being it's sort of secondary, I suppose, in any email that's being sent to MPs or anything that's being done with the Lords. Yeah, the first focus is on the cigar, impact. The second part does then go on to heritage and culture, tradition, particularly when you look at in response to things like the plain packaging, because the response to that is, hold on, these boxes, for example, in the bands, it's actual artwork, right? It's been designed. They were at one point hand painted. There's still artisan effort that goes into creating these things, and it all ties back to the history, traditions, and cultures. And Britain being, I would say, probably one of the cultural hotspots for cigars on this planet. I'd go as far as to say that London has probably the collection of oldest, rarest, most vintage cigars in the world. And why people aren't seeing that, I agree with you completely. They're blind to the fact that of what they're eradicating if they remove cigars, remove the packaging. And I think one of you mentioned on, I can't remember if it was at the start or on last week's call, it will create a sort of prohibition era setup where people are buying from other markets, Spain, Switzerland, wherever, and bringing them back into the UK and selling them, in ways that they shouldn't be sold. And
But it's okay to smoke marijuana everywhere. That's okay. Yeah, you can sit in the
That's
park.
okay because that's
That's
healthy.
okay.
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's why keep saying, and I say this again and again, out of frustration. You're dealing with complete fucking knobends, yeah. And how do you negotiate with knobends? You negotiate with their pockets. You negotiate with their popular. That's how you negotiate, because reason and sense won't work.
Yeah, right. It's a very interesting thing about which way the MPs and Lords have been voting, because it's not a like party. It's not Conservatives versus Labour or something like that. There's a pocket of people who do smoke cigars in the Commons and the Lords, and so they're obviously against the bill and they're speaking up saying how great cigars are. There's the Libertarians who are saying, I don't care whether it's cigars or alcohol or sugar or whatever, you can't take people's liberties away. And then there's there's sadly the majority, which are just it's tobacco. I don't care what it is. It's bad for us. It costs the NHS money, and those statements are not backed by correct research. And so you have this sort of cross-party thing going on where you can't attribute it all to one group. It's quite wild. But
right. So
here's what people may be forgetting. Hold on one second. Here's what people in America, once it happens over there, and why we should be worried about it in the North America is because it'll start happening here. It's just a way to take away rights, right? So where the people in the USA are going to watch this and go, oh, who cares? It's Britain. We don't care, blah, blah, blah. They don't realize in 5 or 10 years, we'll get an idiot over here that's going to be like, let's get rid of cigars or let's get rid of tobacco, right? But the lobbyists are bigger here than your place and they write big checks. So I think that's part of it. The other thing, your whole country is based, your heritage, if you will, from the 40s on. You got a little fat man that, beat a guy with a mustache. And all he did was smoke cigars 100 times a day. So the fact that you want to get rid of something so iconic is pathetic. And that just proves that society of pussies and wokeness has just gone to a point of total idiots, to Riz's point. So,
our current Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, Wes Streeting, he's the main guy spearheading this. He referred to Winston Churchill as the great cigar chomper in a rant against him, which I found very disrespectful to be saying that sort of stuff about the man who achieved the things he achieved. So in the parliamentary building, that's very, I found that a very disrespectful thing that happened. So yeah, they're aware of, but disregarding that history. But interestingly, this has happened in the US already, but you guys beat it. So they did try to do a sort of cigar ban, but your system being slightly different to ours, money did help, and I believe it was Rocky Patel and others commissioned an independent investigation into the effects of premium cigars and fine tobaccos, which was enough to put in front of your courts to block it. Now, obviously, our system doesn't use the courts that way, so we can't, and we did try and use the US information, the report that was done, and we were told that's not applicable in the UK, even though, why not? Who knows? But so it does prove that they will try and do these kind of things in the US as well. And also right now, Canada have exactly the same bill going through right now as well. So I was actually talking to the guy running the Canadian equivalent of Save Cigars, and we're both doing exactly the same things just across the Atlantic. So
it's interesting.
There's a question which is very interesting, and that says, what's with the private sale of the cigars, or if you gift cigars? So does this, how does the bill that part?
So I need to, I'm not clear on the answer for individuals who are not members of the trade. So if you're selling it not as a business, I'm not sure. But for businesses, one of the changes in the bill is that you will not be able to gift cigars anymore. So there will be no free. Wow. You're not allowed to give a cigar for free with the new bill if you're a cigar shop or whatever. So that is a change. I don't know what that means to consumers.
What does that mean when you say that you will not be able to give cigars for free? What does that mean? Or gift cigars for free? What does that mean?
So as in, if you walk into a lounge now and the owner decides he likes you that day and he wants to give you a free cigar, that will be illegal. You will not be able to gift, give, or grant.
have
Even
a
if
suggestion.
even if you were born before 2009.
Correct. Yeah. So this is a new
How about buy
line
one
in-
get one free? If you
Wow.
you bought a cigar and he gives you one with it, there's no BOGOs now. Anything? Your country sucks. Rizzy, you need to move. A bunch of pansy people with bad teeth and pasty
I told
skin.
you, first
You
class
need,
seat all the way down.
yeah, I know. You guys need to whatchamacallit. You need to just you move to a country that has freedom, like North Korea.
Okay,
I
now
think
I have
there you can smoke cigars.
okay now that both of my friends are going on their rampage, I'm going to bring you back to a question. The fact that we have I mean we have a very similar legal system that came from Britain, Commonwealth countries. We had we have in situations like this, what can happen is that people can actually file an application or launch a case and go to the high courts or supreme courts, seeking a stay order or whatever, right? Is
Judicial
there a
review.
yeah, so is there a possibility that if something of that sort happens, something can go on for this case as well?
There is, yeah, that could happen. And I had heard people suggesting that the approach would be deal with this after it's happened rather than before it's happened, because we're a little bit late to the party trying to stop it at this current point. Still trying, but we're late to the party. The problem with that is that it would need a massive cash injection to fund the litigation or the the independent research that would need to be done, all that sort of thing. And I don't think the organizations in the UK compared to the US, for example, have the same size cash reserves necessarily. It's a smaller market, it's a smaller number of people buying cigars. Yeah, I could be wrong. There might be some people with very deep pockets that would want to back it, but I think that would come down to finances.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, the way it stands, what's on a scale of 1 to 10, and 12 being that it passes? Where is it on the scale? Even though Rizzo wrote an endearing letter to his MP, which I'm sure he appreciated. It said, "Mwah," like no better, like a Shakespeare. I'm assuming, and the MP probably has that framed. What's the chances of this actually passing?
So I think of the bill passing, high, 10, 10 11
Oh,
o'clock.
really? Okay.
But not in its what everybody's hoping for is not in its current state. So
Okay.
I think it's inevitable that they're going to a bill will pass, but the hope at the moment is that we can get the right amendments in place that when it does pass, it's not as damaging. So some of the amendments that are tabled now, and anyone can actually go onto the government website,
Okay.
and find very easily the tabled amendments that are going to be discussed in the next few weeks. But there's some pretty key ones. So some people are saying rather than do a generational ban, just increase the smoking age to 25 or 21
Thank
or
you.
something.
Right.
Thank you.
That's logical. Be
Right.
like the US, just increase the age. Okay, we all want to do something to stop youth smoking. Increase the age. That's an easy one. So there's things like that. There's others that say exempt OTPs, other tobacco products, from the bill temporarily, while a full evidence-based review can be done. So at the moment, like in this impact assessment that was written, it's 293 pages long. The word cigar features 3 times in
Nice.
293 pages, right? So they've clearly not done research relating to cigars.
Right.
So one amendment is saying put the bill through, but pause on cigars and rethink that with real evidence. There's others that are just saying carry on with the bill, but exempt OTPs completely. So there's a whole load of different ones that are amended, other things to remove some of those delegated powers that would give them these hidden extra powers straight after the bill signed. So if we can get some of those through and remove the most damaging parts, then we survive a little longer until the next threat. But will a bill pass? I'm fairly certain something will pass. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, that'll be interesting. I like the 20.
Right.
I think they do what they do in the States, 25 or whatever your age is in every year. So it goes from 09, then to 10, to 11, to 12. So it's a sliding scale. This way everyone can enjoy their cigars and not have to revolt And the fact whoever in the parliament called Churchill, whatever he called, she should just be tarred and feathered. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. So, the fat little man did a lot for you guys. You should literally, kids should be smoking when they're 2 years old and drinking scotch at the same point just to celebrate Churchill. I think it should be a law. That should be the law you should try to get passed. I'm just trying to help out. So,
yeah, it's I think as well when there were statistics. I mean, they stopped collecting cigar related data in 2018 because there just wasn't enough data to collect anymore. But
right.
at that moment, they found that on average, I think for the UK population, it's an average that one cigar would be smoked per 22 people per year or something. So basically saying, look, no one bloody smokes cigars. And if all of the MPs stood up in the House of Commons, what would that be? 10 of them probably smoked a cigar that year. That was like in relation to the population size. So they need to properly impact assess it. They had some stats that were showing the average age. So 78% of cigar smokers are over 35. The average age of a cigar smoker is 52 in the UK. So if the purpose of this bill is to stop youth smoking, cigars aren't where it's starting.
Right.
We just got to, and that's what I'm doing with the campaign, is trying to just, make people aware of everything we've talked about today, so people really know what the bill will do and when, and B, what can we do about it? Is talk in the messages to the MP if they do reply to you, because a few people have sent me the response that their MP gave them. It's like, great, okay, they've engaged with you now. Talk to them, tell them what you want.
Let's bring an MP on. Let's bring in Philip. Go bring an MP on. We'll talk. Rizzo will talk to him because he has a very elegant way of putting things. I think when he starts off the show with the MP, you're a fucking knob. I think that will set the tone for the show, and I think that MP will feel elated.
There's something lost in translation here. There's something lost in translation, and it irks me that it's not necessarily understood. Look, when I use the colorful language, right, whatever you think of it, there's emotion behind it, right? Okay. Now, you can talk in a very civilized way. You can write in a very civilized way to civilize people. And we've become very sort of polarized kind of society. People just hold very strong opinions. I would imagine, if I could put a number on it, and this is just a pure guess, 99% of people that want to stop you smoking have never smoked in their lives. They haven't got a fucking clue, right? Okay. It's like me telling women to stop wearing makeup. We love them wearing makeup, right? Okay. I don't walk around with lipstick and eyeshadow on, but it suits a certain audience. And it's a very
you
silly
do,
example.
but we don't discuss
But you get the idea. You get the idea. We're talking about uninformed, unintelligent animals who have opinions on how we want to spend our recreational lives. Okay, they have opinions on it, and they want to enact it in government. What I'm really hoping is that these fuckers will vanish in about a year or 2 years, and then the laws will revert. I think Philip referred to this. Yeah, we don't know where the world is going. The world is changing literally. Forget 6 months to 6 months. On a monthly basis, the world changes very significantly. 20 years ago, the world would change increment, like in sort of 5 or 6 years, 7 years, you would see a cycle and things would change. Okay, right. So these are the kinds of problems you're dealing and negotiating with people who are totally non-receptive, and this is gonna come to in terms of prophecy or soothsaying. This is going to go one of two ways. Yeah. First of all, late to the party already. People saw this coming a year ago, 2 years ago. No one's really done anything about it. It's been a very apathetic attitude. Someone else will do something about it. The higher ups will do something about it. No one's really vocalized. So the vocalization, writing to your MP, is just another form of screaming and shouting, right? And I think screaming and shouting also doesn't work. It just conveys a certain sense of emotion and frustration, nothing more than that, right? Okay. So probably this problem will have to be dealt with post the event. A legal team, a consultancy firm will have to go and do the things that, as an industry, we could have very easily done beforehand. Okay. Or the other thing that will happen in a couple of years' time, 3 years' time, 4 years' time, when moods change and it will just change again. I was watching, it's very, very strange. Last night I was watching Darkest Hour. Okay. Darkest Hour is peppered peppered. I mean, it's a historical drama, right? Peppered with Winston Churchill smoking a cigar, calming his nerves down, and having the odd shot of whiskey. When I say odd shot of whiskey, bloody hell, my
A
God,
bottle.
that's an
Yeah.
understatement and a half, right? Okay. These are the things. I mean, we're sitting here talking this way because this country held together with someone like that at the helm, right? Whatever you think, every human being has their good qualities, bad qualities, but it's a product of very fucking historical importance. Forget and notwithstanding Winston Churchill, it's been around for centuries. Let's say it's a centuries old product. And you've got these fucking woke people, right? And whatever it may be, whatever you want to call them, right? Woke, even woke is sort of like an overcooked, it's overcooked terminology, right? You just have a generation that doesn't understand the generations that went before it and has very, very populist and very judgmental view of the world. And then that's a generational issue.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, everything is moving, as you say, everything moves faster now, right? And that's if you look even not to get too deep into economics, but we have this concept of innovation cycles in economics, and you look at how long it took us to go from sort of coal power to steam power to electric power to and then you bring that into the modern
From
world
first
and
flight to the moon, etc., etc.
yeah, and those innovation cycles took 80 years to get through. Now we're in innovation cycles that are 20 years or less, and that's just every time there's a new cycle, it almost halves, and especially with the advancement of it. So the world is moving faster than a lot of the people and processes can keep up with. But I think what people as well don't realize, in the general public rather than the cigar world, is this everything I've just said applies to also vapes and cigarettes, which more than 200, there's 200,000 or so cigar smokers, pipe smokers. But if we're only 2% of it, how many cigarette smokers and vapes are there? It'll be the same for them. So you'll have a person walk into the newsagent to buy their vape, and they'll have to be ID'd, and they might be 21, and the person next to them, 22, 21-year-old, can't buy a vape or a cigarette. So there will be public outcry for this.
This could be a casebook example of civil liberties. This could be a casebook example. Because it doesn't really damage anyone, but this could become something in judicial terms that specifically highlights how civil liberties are being curbed. I have to drive around London at 20 miles per hour because some fucking idiot decided it should be 20. Right? Okay, right. I've been doing it, and I've been. We all used to have a certain sense of liberty, and every single thing is being squeezed. That's a very general statement, but on the cigars note, that could be the playbook in itself. This is the sort of absolutely sort of non-damaging, non-harmful example that can be used to sort of unlock everything else.
Yeah.
Hey, just to let you guys know, Cigar Cave, this is what he wrote on Instagram for us. The FDA spent $100 million on research to find, that's because I can read and I have a phone. So I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, he says that there's a side effect of cigar smoking. And what they came up with after $100 million is they put a sticker on your cigar. It says it might kill you. Cigar analyst here on YouTube says the fact that the guys in the United Kingdom can't use a US study not Apple just shows the uphill battle that you're facing. So there you go. Those are two of our fans that are out every week. So to their point, that's true. I mean, you buy a cigar over here and it says it's going to kill you. All right, great. So is driving a car, walking across the street and breathing the air in New York City. All that's going to kill me too. And pardon me? What's going to kill me?
And a COVID jab.
And a COVID jab, right? But I got 6 because I wanted to double up. And then the other part of that is that the fact that they won't let you bring a study over is also kind of pathetic. So it's just literally, let's see what rights we can go, how we can do it. In America, the only thing we have different, to your point, is we have lobbyists with billions of dollars, and they'll say to the congressman or woman or the senator, if you don't do this, if you don't pass this or you pass this, we won't give you money. So, the tobacco lobbies, the alcohol people, all that, they throw billions at them.
I sincerely hope that the big importers into the UK, I'm going to mind my P's and Q's here for a change. I sincerely hope they haven't decided, we don't want to spend any money. Let the retailers, the tobacconists, let the public spend the money. Because it stinks of an air of greed here, by the way. I have no problem saying it. I'll get my cigars from China if I want to, okay? But I sincerely hope that hasn't happened. And if that hasn't happened, I'd love to hear about how much, honestly, in the nicest way, how much money they have spent to counteract these issues, if at all, any.
I mean, they should be worried about it, because especially with things like plain packaging, for example. So I was kind of just trying to dig a bit further into what will the consequences of that be. So aside from the fact that I could hold here a Bahique and then here, Jose El Piedra or something, both nice, but very vastly different price-wise, right? But there'd be no distinction of the band. So unless you really can look at them and go, okay, I know which one's which, most people, in your humidor, for example, you've just got a tray of cigars. You wouldn't be able to tell which one's which, apart from if there's a plain printed text on it that says Monte Cristo or something, So, but what might happen is somebody's going to have to pay for the plain packaging to be put on. Right. Cuba aren't going to do that. They're going to just ship them in the Cuban packaging, right? Which means when they hit hunters, they will have to do it. So the price will go up for the consumer. Or there may be certain lines that they say it's just not worth bringing that into the UK anymore because we have to plain package. We don't sell that many of them. And so the selection will reduce. So it's going to impact everybody from the whole chain. So from the people creating the cigars through to the importers, through to the consumers.
That'll be the new regional edition from Habanos, yeah, the UK edition, which has got white bands on it.
Blank, yeah.
White bands. Yep. The new UK Exclusivo Reino Unido.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it's just I'm hoping that the manufacturers, the importers are all, I mean, they are all aware of this. From the people I've spoken to, they're all very aware of it, and like I say, are trying in the background to speak to the right people in Parliament and support in the amendments that are being written. Help provide them with language and wording and facts, and so that's happening. But yeah, it's
listen. If you need help, you reach out to us here at the show, and we'll do it for you. We'll talk to the MPs for you. Because Rizzo with his elegance, and then me with my New York attitude, we're there for you, buddy. We're going to make sure that you don't have problems with cigars in the United Kingdom, or they're going to deport you. It could go either way.
There's an insidious side to this.
Oh my God!
Message me later. I'll tell you about it.
Oh God, here it is.
I'm not going to say it on air. I'm not going to say it on air because Usman gave me a fucking telling off yesterday as well. Yeah, Rez, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? Okay.
Can you see something has worked finally?
Well, I'm just here to tell you that it didn't work. But what could be the insidious side of this? To cut a very long story short, is just to fucking jack up the prices of cigars again, because I have a mild feeling that this problem has already been addressed, and all this is just a show, just to
scaremonger.
Are you touching elephant balls? What are you doing there with this?
I was waiting.
Are you whatchamacallit? Are you like, what are you doing? Like a hernia check? What's going on with you? So well, this I think this is.
Guess.
What do I know? I think this was very cool. I mean, we could talk about this for 6 hours.
Great deal of greed in the world, and that's the emotion that normally wins.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the I think it was Cigar Cave on Instagram said that money after marijuana. So yeah, it's all about money.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that the suppliers have not. So I mean, if they were drug dealers, for example, if they were drug dealers, okay, if they were Colombian drug dealers,
sure.
Very, very successful businessmen. There's a guy called Pablo Escobar who became one of the richest men in the world, the richest drug dealer in the world, right? Okay.
Yeah.
If they were drug dealers, this is sort of hypothetical. They would be the first people to stamp this out, one way or the other, correct? Because it affects the supply chain. Totally affects their income in the future. We're not talking of 6 months down the line. We're talking over the next 20 years. It affects their. So I'm wondering what the fuck is going on, and that's why it's interesting to have Philip on. To give a sort of behind the watch, the mechanics, what's going on, what's actually going on. And I don't believe that even now we've got to the root of it. There's a bit of let's say an expose in the making here. What's going on in the cigar world? What's going on with regards pricing? What's going on with regards industry dynamics, supply and demand? Who knows what? Who owns what?
Well, that's I was about
who
to
owns what?
Chip in with that. I don't know if you saw Ray Prodnov's got a new website called The Late Smoke, and he did an article a day or two ago. AJ from Number 6 shared it on his Instagram today, I think, about who owns Habanos SA.
Habanos, that's right.
And I had a bit of a light bulb moment earlier.
I sent AJ the answer as well.
Yeah, well, I do wonder, and if you know of the people who potentially will be buying that 50%, maybe they could have some influence. We know that those states often influence a lot of other things behind the scenes.
Is it not puzzling to you, Philip? Is it not puzzling to you that this problem hasn't been nipped in the bud?
Yes.
Is it puzzling? It's puzzling, correct?
Yeah, it is. It is. But
right,
like
so
I say,
a bit like a murder mystery, if you follow the thread back, yeah, right,
God.
okay, you'll find bits of cheese along it, you'll find a mouse trap at the end of it, yeah, and then you find a dead mouse. Now, I think those bits of cheese lead me back to what I just said, perhaps the insidious side of this. There is a synchronized effort to keep this industry financially buoyant.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it is.
Yeah. Well, on that,
it's just fun sending me private messages telling me to calm down.
yeah, no. So basically, on that, we're going to say goodbye to Philip. The three of us are going to do our little wrap up. Philip, you're more than welcome to come back. I mean, if you survive, exposing yourself in parks, I guess, and they don't get rid of you after you've been on the show, you're more than welcome to come back, or we'll talk to you from prison. Either way. So there you have it. So whatever you need. And by the way, Isman, he's an IT guy, so he knows what a landline is. Anyway, and we'll have that discussion. But Philip, thank you so much, and we'll put Philip's information there. Everything will be rebroadcasted later, so you guys can catch up with everything. You can go to Philip's Instagram. You can go to any of ours, and if you need information or need to get a hold of him, if you're in the UK, let us know, and we'll put you in touch. And if you're one of the people that are buying Habanos cigar in Cuba, call me. I'm an investment banker. We'll give you a better deal. And that's it. And there you have it. So, Philip, thank you so much, my friend. We'll hopefully see you soon.
Thank you for letting me on the show, guys. It's been a real pleasure to speak
Pleasure.
to you all. And
cheers.
Join. All right.
Bye-bye. Nice. I like him. He was nice. He told us what was going on. I mean, he's screwed, and then they're going to come take him from his house now. We'll never hear from him again. But other than that, he's fine.
So the best part is Raza behaved. That was the most important thing today.
You told me to fucking behave myself.
For the first half hour, he was on a mute. I was surprised. I was like worried. I mean, what is the show going to look like? A complete monologue? No.
I can't win. I can't win with Usman. I slag people off. I can't win. I'm nice to them. I can't win. I say something I can't win. I don't say something I can't win.
I think you should just be
like
you.
A woman. And no pleasing her.
Well, and that's why princess is princess. But anyway, I think you should always be you. And when Usman tells you shouldn't do something, I think you should do opposite day and do whatever he tells you to do. You just do opposite of, and it'll be so much. So he'll call you next week. He's going to go, Riza, I want you to rant and swear and whatever, and then you do opposite day. But if he calls and tells you to be good, then be you.
Speaking of next week, just so that everyone is aware, next week the show will start 1 hour late because we have another guest.
No. We're not doing that crap. No, same time. If the guy wants to come on, comes on at 8 o'clock. We're not inconveniencing our fans. So no, if the ball scratcher wants to show up, he can come. Right, he can show up at 8 o'clock Eastern time, like I do every Saturday. And what time for you guys? We're not moving it.
Steven, calm down.
I'm fine. I saw the emails back and forth, though. That's why I'm a little annoyed. We're not doing shit for this guy.
Usman is quite sensitive to these things. So beware and be aware.
Now that it is done, Raza, what is your final agreement on the time?
I couldn't give two flying fucks, man.
Guys, we're live. I
couldn't care less who comes on. I couldn't care less who goes off.
We are live.
I only care that even if someone has to join in their gym jams, is that they make some sense and wear silk gym jams
with our initials on it, not theirs.
Right. So everyone, before both of these,
but I don't know, Usman. I really honestly don't.
Not on their comments. We would be doing the show on our time. I'm very much.
I prefer if we did it 1 hour later.
Okay, so it would be great. We will.
You want to do an hour later? For going forward,
but at
or
the same time, the other half of me feels that we shouldn't change the time.
Right. Okay.
No,
so
I wouldn't change the time.
Can I finish my thoughts, both of you? All right. So
You must.
we'd be doing the show on time. In case there is a change which is agreed between these two until then.
Well, hang on. Who's booked the
Wait,
guest?
let me finish.
Who's
Let
booked the
me
guest?
finish. Raza, shut up. Okay, right? So in that case, we will publish it on our Instagram handles and
Yes.
through a short earlier in advance. But the most importantly, we would have Aaron Sigmund joining us next week on the 6th of September.
We'll see.
And talking about his new book and
Yeah,
a lot
whatever.
of on cigars. We have another fan who's saying, "Hi, is it possible to have global cigar quality standards and an organization to certify those standards?"
Oh, I can answer that question. Yes.
Can I finish? Can I finish the question? For each type band, this will protect consumers and streamline market on that basis.
Oh, I can
The
answer that
fact
question. Yes.
Right. Okay. That was the first part of the question. Yes, Fawad, but the fact is that since cigars are produced in different countries and every country has their own different
No,
standards.
they're only made in Cuba. All the others are just copies.
Oh God, it's going to be one of those days.
Stephen, can you mute him?
They're fakes.
Right. Stephen, can you mute him? Can you mute him? Okay. Right. So because
There's
of
Cubans and then there's fake Cubans. Now, Cubans made in Cuba and fake Cubans are sort of like, everywhere else.
Talistego, the cigar I had, the Winds of the Daughter, not made in Cuba. Beautiful cigar. Even Usman thinks it's one of the
I
cigars of the
love
year.
Habanos cigars. I love
Casper
Habanos
Dagley?
cigars. I love Cuban cigars. Send more,
You got
send
that.
more. Diminish the price. Make them free.
Hunters
Oh,
is
I like
Hunters. Stephen Hunters is giving him some shares. That's why he's doing this like this.
Ooh,
I was
I was
Hunters
going
is
to say,
messaging right now.
Habana called him.
Right.
So Habana must have called him. All right. So
the answer to the question on a serious note is that since cigars are manufactured in different countries, and then every country in the world has a different regulation for smokers and import, it might not be possible to have one global unified body to classify or qualify them and standardize it that way. Also, because of the fact that there is a lot of historical fight amongst the Cuban cigars in the US also, and a lot of other things going on. So that is why it is up to the countries and the organizations which are making them and the different countries to have their own regulation, and hence this small pockets across the globe.
there you go. Now, with that all being said, gentlemen, we will see everybody next week at the same time. We're not changing the time for some prima donna who thinks he can scratch his balls before a certain time. That's the final word. We'll be back at our same time.
I had a question.
Please ask your question.
I had a question to Usman.
Yes, please.
The guest, the guest who is coming on next week, who organized
ball
the
scratcher.
guest?
What happened?
Who organized the guest?
Well, initially I did, but then.
So hang on. If you organize the guest, you should be able to say what time he comes on at.
Right. We'll start the show at 8.
Well, I said it.
Why am I getting the follow-ups? If you organize the guest, you should organize with the guest. I mean, it's just a matter of housekeeping there.
I will answer that.
Or would you like me to do that on your behalf?
Oh God!
Can you do that on my behalf?
No, I want you to
do
it.
I knew there's a no coming in this answer.
I know it's simple. It's a simple question, simple answer. Yeah.
Listen, we don't want to inconvenience
because then we can let all 8.5 fans know whether we are coming in on time or coming in later.
Listen, we don't want to inconvenience the fans. They have a life. They have things they want to do.
The discord between all three of us. Normally, we're of one mind. We're
Since
unanimous, which is Latin for unanimous, one mind. Yeah.
The whole purpose of this show and all three of us is that none of us have a same mind.
That's right.
And yet you want me to acquiesce to your way of doing things, and yet you want me to acquiesce to your way.
Listen. The fans have spoken. I'm reading their comments on Instagram.
Acquiesce from the Latin aqua, meaning to become like water.
Let's listen.
Wait. One of the fans says. Do we have Do we have the option to suggest times also? Sure, suggest away. Not that we'll listen. As you know, we don't listen to any of you. But anyway, here's the thing. We
You're
love our
slow.
fans. And I've talked to some of them that
We
I
love
bump
our fans,
into
but
in
we don't listen
person.
to them.
Yeah, we don't. Well, it's because we love them. It's kind of like being married. You love
They're
your
like our
wife, you just
favorite
don't listen to her.
pets. Don't bug back.
That's how I look at it. I stroke the fans. It's very nice, and sometimes they call the police. But anyway, what I'm going to say is, why should we inconvenience the fans? Because we have a prima donna who wants to show up, and we're glad he wants to show up. But the fans have like their Saturday. They at wherever they are around the world, they know they
That's the
tune in
prima
at a
donna.
certain time and they get it. Well, we know that. Well, please, princess, we're well aware. But I'm just saying the fans tune in at a certain time. Let them tune in, and anybody who wants to come on the show, we have people from all around the world come on, and they are amazing how they can get on for us at a time.
I've noticed that Stephen has kept Usman permanently at a sort of a higher level, at an elevated level on that top corner screen. Now, I don't know how
You
much
feel
money we
better?
should change. I don't know how much
A
money we
lot of
should
money. Do you
change
feel
to
better
make.
now? Do you feel better? You feel better
Well,
now?
no, I was just hoping that
He was Raza. He was giving you the highlight by keeping you here in the
Yeah.
No,
three.
I didn't. I didn't need you to change it because that's very artificial. I was just making a note.
God.
The note has been made. I've made a note in my
There.
my daily journal about this, and
Oh
it'll be of no consequence. But I've made a note,
Oh, shit.
and
Right. Okay, Raza. On that note, shut up, Stephen. Can you please
Yes.
say the closing remarks as you do every time, and let's
No worries. And
take this crap
wait,
out of the live session.
I will wait really quick. The guys whose name I can't pronounce, who I love,
Awesome.
and so I'm not.
Awesome.
Thank you. Awesome says I'm going to love watching next week's show, Steven versus Aaron. I love you, Awesome. I love you. You don't even know. It's not going to just be me. It's going to be the other guy that's below me right now, and I don't mean that in a bad way, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Don't forget to tell your friends about the show. Live on Instagram. We broadcast on Instagram. We'll be broadcasting on YouTube all within the next couple of hours. And we want to thank Philip for coming in. And we see him being carted off right now. So he'll be his next thing from whatever the Tower of London is where he'll be doing the next show, talking about how to save cigars. And that's it, kids. Enjoy the show. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you for watching. Love you, fans. And we'll see you all next Saturday. And then at a regular time. The ball scratcher. Geo, everybody.